House of EdTech, Episode 41.
I'm Miles. You're listening to the House of EdTech with my daddy, Chris Nesi.
This episode of House of EdTech is brought to you in part by Today'sMeet.com. The start of the school year is right around the corner. You haven't added back-channeling to your classroom yet? What you need to do is go to Today'sMeet.com/houseofedtech to learn how you can add back-channeling to your classroom today. And by helphub.me. Check out the internet's premier tutoring marketplace. Go to helphub.me to learn how you can be an online tutor today. Welcome to the House of EdTech podcast. I am your host, Christopher Nesi, and the House of EdTech explores how technology is changing the way teachers teach and the impact that technology is having in education. My objectives include discussing technology that is changing our classrooms and schools and sharing tools and tips that you can hear about today and use tomorrow. I talk to teachers, leaders, and creators like you and have them share their stories. The purpose? Whether you use it or not, technology is changing the way we teach and how our students learn. And happy summer. How you doing? How you be? Thanks for stopping back in to the House of EdTech. Coming up in this episode, I have my EdTech thought, an EdTech recommendation, and of course, another House of EdTech VIP. But now let me tell you, you may have noticed that the time on this episode is much smaller than other episodes. Here in the month of August 2015, things are going to be a little bit different here on the podcast. As you may or may not know, Caitlin and I are expecting the birth of our second child later this month. August 21st is her due date to be exact. And we are in full-on baby mode here in the House of EdTech. I've spent the last week or so renovating our kitchen. And when I say renovate, I mean I've added cabinets and countertop to the empty half. And while that was happening, we just decided to go all the way and gut the entire other side of the kitchen where everything else was. So that means all new cabinets, countertop, a new stove oven, which also means goodbye to the 1970s caloric wall oven, which I hated when we bought the house. So I'm glad that's gone and sitting in the driveway until bulk pickup here where I live. New microwave, the works. You can actually check out a few pics from this project in the show notes for this episode, and I have done this all myself thanks to my wife, Caitlin, who doesn't let me call anybody to do it for me. So I've done all the work, the plumbing, the electric. I'm very proud of myself. So for people who know me, who have interacted with me on Twitter and stuff, I've posted pictures of things like my bathroom project, where I gutted and redid my bathroom. And my house is a come-to-life makerspace full of things like math and geometry and electric and engineering. So I'm very proud of my work. And make sure you head over to the show notes to check out some pictures from this current project here in the actual House of EdTech. As a result of all of this, I'm going to be pushing back a bunch of the interviews that I've recorded, and I'm going to be incorporating them into the podcast starting in September. So some great conversations that you can look forward to are conversations with Jennifer Williams, a great episode coming up, an interview I just did with Joe Sanfilippo and Tony Sinanis together. I really can't wait to share that one. That was really fun. I also spoke with Megan Davis from Go Enounce, which is a really cool website that I'm looking forward to sharing with you, and the gamification guru, Chris Aviles, from right here in New Jersey. Now, I am still looking to bring you value and content that you can still use during the next few weeks while I am preparing for, the baby. So over the next few weeks, the episodes are going to be a little bit shorter, and I'm still going to bring you recommendations and some of my thoughts. And what I'm really looking forward to the most, and I can't lie about this, is I'm really just looking forward to saying the name of baby Nesi number 2, and you will know shortly after I do. I mean, I know the name already, but I can't wait to share it with you. So thanks for the support so far, and I'm looking forward to sharing some great content. So let's move on, and let's check out my EdTech thought for this episode. My EdTech thought for this episode I am calling Back to School. Now, slow down. This isn't what you think it is. Again, I am in the middle of summer vacation myself, whereas I do know that many of you may be starting school sometime later this month. I'm sorry, but I'm lucky enough to live in New Jersey where I don't have to go back to school until September. But anyway, here's what I'd like to do. I want to gather up some back-to-school tips and suggestions for the upcoming school year. I want you to share your best tech. As always, it's easier for me to say than, to say it. So I want to share... Okay, let's try this again. And I'm not even going to be editing this. So here we go. Let's put my thoughts together. I can do this. I want you to share your best tech implementation strategies, icebreakers, and anything you do that is awesome to start the school year. Please share it with me, because I'd like to include them in episode number 43, which I'll be releasing on August 30th. So get those tips and strategies into me ASAP, because I want to be able to put that together hopefully before the baby comes, and that way I can just release the episode in a timely fashion. I guess that's really the theme here, is that I got a baby coming and I still care about you, so I need to do both. So I would love to include audio from you, because that's the best thing I can do, and I think that's the best way for you to get involved here on the podcast. It's to send audio. I don't think it's as powerful if you send me an email and I read what you write. So send me some audio. Go send me a message on Voxer, or you can call the House of EdTech feedback hotline, or you can click the SpeakPipe button over on chrisnesi.com, and all the contact information will be coming up here at the end of the episode. So get me your back-to-school recommendations, and I will include them later this month here on the podcast. And that's my EdTech thought. And now for the EdTech recommendation for this episode. This is one I've been sitting on for quite some time, and I thought this would be a great time to use it. So I'd like to recommend to you Doodly. That's right, Doodly. Doodle.ly. Doodly is a fun, free, and easy way to create and share drawings with your friends and family. And it's got some educational applications as well. Doodly is a social sketchpad for self-expression, creativity, and inspiration. It's a fast, fun, and easy way to share hand-drawn pictures, sketches, doodles, notes, and even just scribbles across social networks. Doodly aims to make communicating through hand-drawn pictures and doodles as instant and magical as when you first pass notes to your friends in homeroom. Boy, I remember homeroom, and boy, passing notes was fun. I should get back to passing notes. Maybe I should do this podcast as a note... Nah, never mind, that's not going to work. In a world gone digital, with text, links, videos, and photos, hand-drawn pictures are in danger of being lost forever. So, save the pictures. Use Doodly. Save the pictures. Some great education applications that I thought of could include illustration-based icebreakers at the start of the school year, individual or group whiteboards during a lesson, or even exit tickets for older students that share their drawings with you and their peers. You can download Doodly as an app on your iPhone or your iPad, and you can go to appstore.com/Doodly, or you can go to their website, which is doodle.ly, doodle.ly. So let's save the pictures, let's share the pictures, and you need to check out Doodly, because that's my House of EdTech recommendation. And now for this episode's House of EdTech VIP. Congratulations to John Mason. John Mason is a certified social studies teacher here in New Jersey, and he currently works in a middle school. Mr. Mason is constantly on the lookout for new technology and emerging trends in the field of education. A lifelong technology enthusiast and lover of coffee, Mr. Mason continues to integrate technology into the classroom in addition to sharing his passion for continued growth and learning. Mr. Mason has presented to colleagues and faculty throughout southern New Jersey on technology, social studies, and language arts integration. He's currently pursuing a master's degree in school administration and Mr. Mason is seeking to continue to be an instructional leader as well as cultivating his ability to lead other educators into the knowledge of the 21st century. Mr. Mason is also an avid practitioner and instructor of yoga, which is pretty cool. I'm not flexible, but kudos to Mr. Mason. John also hosts, and I've mentioned it here before, the Beard Ed podcast, which incorporates all facets of his experience into his feelings and reflections on the challenges of being a modern educator. John explores what it takes to create and maintain one's educational vision in light of mandates, change, and the need to constantly move forward in order to prepare our students for society. Join Mr. Mason to help answer the question, quote, why should I include this in my school? To what end will it serve? You could check out Beard Ed and all of John Mason's material on his website at jmason.me. That's jmason.me. And you need to connect with John on Twitter. His username is John Mason without the O, which is JHNMASON. Connect with John today. And congratulations to you, John Mason. You are a House of EdTech VIP. Well, that's going to do it for a slightly abbreviated version of the House of EdTech. Once again, this episode was sponsored by Today's Meet. Check out today'smeet.com/houseofedtech for more information about how to add back-channeling to your classroom, and by the web's premier tutoring marketplace, helphub.me. Please keep the conversation going and visit my website, chrisnesi.com. That's NESI.com. And over on the website, you can review the show notes for this episode, number 41, and I would love your thoughts on the information and resources shared in this episode. And especially if you want to share those back-to-school tips, here's the contact information I was talking about earlier. You can email the show, feedback@chrisnesi.com, and you can attach audio to the email. That's cool. And you can also submit audio feedback by calling that House of EdTech listener feedback line. The number is, as always, 732-903-4869. And you can connect with me on Voxer. My username is Mr. Nesi, and my Twitter name is also Mr. Nesi. So any tweets you use, just put the hashtag House of EdTech, and I'll be sure to see them. And if you enjoyed the House of EdTech, previous episodes, or you really like this one, and you haven't left a rating or review, please head over to iTunes and leave a 5-star rating and a positive review. That is the best way that you can help support the podcast, because those ratings and reviews, that helps the podcast climb the iTunes rankings, which makes it easier for other people to discover and enjoy. And you can also show your support through patreon.com by becoming a patron of the show. And you can do that by going over to patreon.com/houseofedtech. The next episode, number 42, will be released on August 16th, 2015. Again, a shorter episode like this one with just the bare minimum. Well, I really shouldn't say the bare minimum, but without the larger format episode that you're probably used to. If you are new to the podcast, you can go back and listen to all the other great content. This would be the 41st episode, and I apologize for the first 40, because I'm always learning something new when I create the House of EdTech. Once again, thank you for listening, and remember, using technology isn't difficult. Just give it a try. The House of EdTech is a proud member of the Education Podcast Network. The Education Podcast Network. Podcasts for educators, podcasts by educators. For more, go to edupodcastnetwork.com.